Hey guys, yeah, I told you I'd try to, keep this going as best I can. This, shooting straight with this series that I've started, and I guess for episode number 2, I think there couldn't be a more appropriate topic to talk about than, something that ties into what's going on right now in the Capitol. And that is the primetime hearings about January 6th. And I think, even though he was trying to be joking about it, humorous about it, I think Jimmy Kimmel kind of, in his own way, put it best. And that is, in the next couple of years, we are probably going to get Donald Trump back in the White House for another term. And the reason, even though he was trying to be joking, trying to find humor, be very jokey about it, is because I think he realizes that despite how people feel about what happened on January 6th of last year, as well as basically a lot of people looking at the fact that the Democrats, the Independents, the Green Party, and even some Republicans trying to turn this into a big political stunt to basically smear Donald Trump from potentially, getting back in the White House, prevent him from being voted back in. If I'm going to shoot straight with you, and that's what the series is about, I know this can probably be a very mixed reaction. Well, I know this is going to be a very mixed, controversial answer to a lot of people. Some people are going to like it, some people are not. But I think, because like I said, Jimmy Kimmel, he gave his own opinion on it, kind of gave his own kind of like thoughts on how he sees it going down in the next couple of years in the 2024 election. And like I said, he pretty much, I think, in his own unique way, said it best that he believes Trump's going to get back in. And to shoot straight with you, I think we all know that. I mean, despite how a lot of us might feel about Donald, despite how we might feel about the way he's just, makes irrational decisions at times, even when he was president, there's no denying that things were a little bit more, I guess you could say, affordable at that time financially. I mean, gas prices went up the way they are right now. Whether you want to believe it or not, mass shootings and stuff were not, as bad as they are today. There's a lot of major differences between what's going on under Biden's regime and what's going what went under, I should say, Trump's regime. And there's a lot of folks that see that. As I mentioned in a video where I talked about and showed some of the stuff that me and my mom bought at the Apricot Fiesta in Patterson. One of the things was this. And this was in a Trump stand. Yeah, this was at a Trump stand. And, there was a lot of different Trump supportive, items there, and, a lot of items that, basically, called out, Biden and his crew, for what's been going on. And again, I think when you really sit down and think about it, whether you agree with it or not, whether you believe Trump had, pretty much, a hand in January 6th's situation, I don't think anybody can deny that, unless, and I'm not saying they won't, because it's still possible they can do this, unless they pass a bill, unless they come up with a sentence or a decision that blackballs Donald Trump from running for office ever again, not just for president, but for any political office. I think we all know and realize that he's heading back in. I think we all know and realize that, whether we like it or not. And of course there's going to be a lot of controversy when that happens. I know a lot of people that support Trump and want to see him get in there, or want to see some kind of Republican get in there over a Democrat. I know a lot of those people are going to be like, okay, we got to keep an eye out. We got to make sure that none of the Democratic supporters for Biden or Harris or whoever, screws up the election this time, just so they can get their people in and prevent our people from getting in instead. And you're going to have a lot of people like that. Like I said, there's no getting around it. But especially you're going to have a lot of people being like that when it comes to Trump. There is there's no trying to deny that answer. There's no trying to come up with various reasons as to why it won't happen. If you see what I'm saying. Because I think if we are truthful with ourselves as well, we realize that unless the person that's voted in to be president does a decent enough job to where, hey, this person, this man or even woman, deserves to be kept in for another 4 years because they've done a decently good job, or at least they have somebody that's at least knows them better than we do, saying, hey, that's just how this person is. They have the best interest in heart, but this is how this person is. Unless that happens, I don't think we cannot deny that it seems that every 4, maybe 8 years, we go from Democrat to Republican and Republican to Democrat. It's like each party basically has their chosen one get a turn. Either every 4 years or every 8 years, depending on if the person gets reelected. So, that seems to be exactly the direction we're heading towards in 2024. That, it seems it's going to be Donald's turn again, and the obvious question a lot of people are going to have, knowing that this is a strong possibility, and even someone like Jimmy Kimmel, who's not very fond of Trump, has to wonder about is, what will he have in store? What will Trump have in store for us if he gets back in? And more than likely will. Will he just, resume where he left off? Will he, when he's campaigning, admit he was wrong in some of his, decisions? Will he realize that, hey, even though he wants things a certain way, that he has to work around that and try to make it balanced out for everybody involved? We don't know. We won't know until the first day of his campaign trailing begins. But like I said, I think we just got to be honest with ourselves. And again, I'm shooting straight with you right now. We just got to be honest with ourselves. He's probably going to get in, whether we like it or we don't. And I think we can all be honest with ourselves that a lot of news outlets, especially the ones that are going to have to change their tone because of now who's taken over, they're going to have to be truthful too. They're going to have to admit when it's all said and done that, if Trump gets in, they're going to have to point out the flaws, the pros and the cons, the flaws and everything that Biden had during his regime. I mean, look, there's no denying Biden, with the help of Harris and a few others that might understand, hey, he needs help here and there. You know, there's no doubt that, there's no arguing he hasn't done some good. I mean, I think we can agree he has tried, especially with this whole situation of getting gun control made into, a permanent law, basically trying to change the age ranges and all that, and try to find all these different ways to make sure that these mass shootings never happen again. Can't deny he's trying his best there along with his team, but people will look at the pros and the cons, and unfortunately a lot of people will say that the cons and the flaws will outnumber his pros. And a lot of people even point out that the reason Biden sounds like he's having a change of tone in his heart, the reason he's trying to kiss up to the Republicans and everybody involved on that side of the party regime, or that part of the party line, is because he wants to try to stay, or at least the people behind him want him to stay for another term, because they know for a fact that Trump's got a good shot at getting back in, and that the last thing they need is a repeat of the 4 years prior, in their opinion. And that is why they look at Biden kissing up. Oh, that's why they're advising, I should say, that being his team, advising him to kiss up to the Republican Party, to kiss up to Republican voters. Because the more he kisses up, the more he makes it sound like, hey, I see what you're saying, I've had a change of tone kind of deal, the more he's got a shot at staying in. But, again, the reason they do that is because the same reason people like Jimmy Kimmel and a lot of us, I think this is why I named the series what I did. If we shoot straight with ourselves, they realize, just like the rest of us, that 2024, Trump could make a return after that election year. That the beginning of 2025 and going up to 2029 could be Trump's new reign. Now, does it mean he'll come afterwards or get another shot afterwards? Not really, because you can only run for president and have a regime as president twice. Whether it's back-to-back, whether you're re-elected or you're elected for a second term, you only get two. And the thing is, everybody on the Biden bullet train realize that. They see that. And like I said, even his team, his staff members, they see that. Pelosi sees that. Harris sees that. And they realize, we got to make this, and they realize that they got to get everybody on their side, which is why, despite what the people like the Young Turks and others might say about it, Biden is doing what he has to stay in. Because his team, his staff knows, when they advise him to do this, they know 2024 Trump's going to probably be re-elected, or probably be elected for another term. He's going to basically be one of those rare presidents that had one term, lost the chance at re-election, ran 4 years later to try to get a second term and get it. And they don't want that to happen. So they're doing what they can, because they know, like I said, like a lot of us do, if we shoot straight with ourselves and be honest, Trump's getting back in. Trump's getting back in, whether we like it or not. And I think honestly, if we shoot straight with ourselves as well, you might say, well, who would he bring in to be his VP, his running mate? Well, I think if anything, he sees how Biden, one of the ways that Biden was able to get in, fair or not, in the eyes of a lot of people, fair or not, was he brought in Kamala Harris as his VP running mate. So Trump, being the business strategist, being the businessman that he is, he's going to probably pull the same ace out of the same card out of, his bag of tricks, and say, okay, you got Harris, I'm going to bring this woman in. That's probably what's going to happen. If we're being, like I said, that's why I named the series what I did. If we're shooting straight with ourselves, that's exactly what could happen. But again, folks, I think we just got to be honest. And it's just shooting straight truth. Despite what's going on with these hearings, despite what the result will be at the end, whether whether or not more evidence comes out and that showcases that this is gonna make that this basically will make Trump look bad in the end. That unless they come up with a decision that blackballs him from running for any political office in the future. After this is all said and done, despite all the evidence that could be put against Trump, despite all the people they bring in to say, yeah, he did this, he said that, and I'll admit some of the things that they've said, that they've revealed that Trump has said, especially about Mike Pence and everything. Look, we have to realize, and we should have realized this too during his first term, Trump is, and even before he became president, Trump is a guy that's going to say what he wants, and not hold anything back. He's going to speak his mind, and that's it, I should say. And does that sometimes hurt him? Absolutely. Even his supporters will admit that hurts him. And hopefully, maybe he'll learn a lesson. We don't know. We don't know. Like I said earlier, we don't know if he's going to start out doing his campaign and admit he was wrong in what he said, and some of the things, or admit he was wrong in some of the things he said, and that he's going to try to, if he gets another shot at being president, he's going to try to make up for that. We don't know. We don't know, and that's the one thing that everybody's kind of confused about or wondering about. What is he going to do? How is he going to start out his campaign towards another term as president? Is he going to be apologetic about things he said and try to make a promise and try to keep the word of he's going to try to do better? We don't know. But I think we all know that despite how he starts out his campaign and to try to get back into the Oval Office, into the White House, there's no denying he's probably going to get in, whether we like it or not. And again, we have to realize that if that happens, just like before, he is going to be the kind of president that says what he wants, says how he feels, and doesn't hide behind it. He's kind of like I mentioned about JD from NY206. He's kind of like JD. JD's going to say what he wants to say about how he feels about certain things when it comes to wrestling, and he's not going to sugarcoat it. He's not going to take it back. He'll admit when he's wrong or jumping the gun on some things, and he's done that recently, and maybe Trump will do the same thing. We don't know. We don't really know. But the fact of the matter is this. Whether we want to admit it or not, 2024 could be and probably will be Trump's year. And that's just the truth. That's just the reality of it. That's just the truth of it. And that, just like the title of the series is called, that's just shooting straight with you on all this. That's just shooting straight with you on it. But let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think of the series so far and everything. I'm going to try to keep this going. But let me know what your thoughts are. And until then, guys, I will talk to y'all later. Super thanks will be enabled afterwards.